Hi, I'm Meg. Welcome to plantfitmeg. Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to share what I learned from not going to the gym and not exercising for a year. I'll also share how I went back and what I learned through that process as well. I just had a really difficult year. I wasn't able to go to the gym and exercise and move my body in the way that I wanted to. My endometriosis progressed to a point where I was in a lot of pain daily and I had to have surgery. And my partner was also in ill health for a while there. And we were just basically in survival mode at the time and just trying to manage and get through. We also decided to move back across the country to be closer to family. So it has been a doozy of a year and it kept me out of the gym for an entire year. So I want to share what I learned from the experience. Hopefully you can avoid some of the mistakes that I made along the way. So the first thing that I learned is that not going to the gym when you're used to going to the gym multiple days a week really sucks. I was also taking dance classes at the time that I had to quit, and so I couldn't dance anymore, and that was really upsetting as well. It sucks, and I knew that it would suck, but I was really mad at myself and mad at my body that it wasn't cooperating and that I couldn't just do the things that I wanted to do anymore. And it's very normal and very human to have those thoughts and feelings and to experience that frustration when you're all of a sudden in a position where you can't do the same things that you used to be able to do with ease. But I learned, and this is a lesson that I have learned in the past, and I just guess I needed to learn again, is that dwelling in that feeling and that frustration and being so frustrated with my body and mad at myself doesn't actually change anything or improve anything. It just makes me feel worse. So I realized that the best thing that I could do for myself in that situation was to focus on what I could do. It was dramatically different from what I was used to. It wasn't lifting weights in the gym. It wasn't attending dance classes. It wasn't the same that I was accustomed to, and as frustrating as that was, I needed to refocus on, okay, this is what I was doing then, what am I going to do now, and focus on what I was actually capable of and what I could do, and reset my expectations so that I could be reasonable with myself and focus on what I was capable of doing. For part of that time, it meant I was capable of walking, or I was capable of doing little step touches, little bits of aerobic workout in my apartment, that I could still go grocery shopping or pick up things from the shop quickly, get home, and have a rest. It's much easier said than done to focus on the things that you really are capable of and celebrating those wins when you go through a health difficulty like that, but it's really important to reset your focus and to reset your expectations of yourself so that you're not feeling like a failure every single day and feeling like you're not doing enough or not doing anything every single day. The next thing that happened is my body changed, which in and of itself was not surprising. If you go from working out 3, 4, 5 days a week, taking dance classes a couple of nights a week, to doing none of that, your body is going to change. Your body is going to respond to the input and output of that energy exchange. And so my body went through a lot of shifts over that year, and I ended up losing some weight, gaining some weight, and there was, a lot going on with, medications and other things that impacted that, and also just being so sedentary after being so active. But the thing that I learned through that is that it's actually okay. It's okay for my body to fluctuate. It's okay to have a phase of my life where I needed to take care of myself in a different way, and that I needed to slow down, and my body changed, and that was okay. And I think in the past, many years ago, if this had happened and if I had been losing weight or gaining weight, all of that would have meant a whole lot, and I would have attached a lot of morality to that. It was good or bad or this or that. But in this instance, I was very free with it, and it just felt like this is the normal pattern of when you aren't able to move your body in the same way, your body is going to respond accordingly. It was just kind of a natural state more than me assigning a moral value to it or saying it was good or bad or otherwise. I tried to just take a really body neutral sort of stance to it, and I was okay with it. And it was going to be what it was going to be because of my situation, and there was a certain aspect of the situation that I couldn't control and that I couldn't do certain things that I wanted to do. And so I allowed myself to be okay with that and to let my body just kind of do its thing. And I actually have, I think, a better body image now than I did previous to all of this, and I think I feel even more free in just having my body sort of respond accordingly to whatever input or output that I contribute to it. And I do have a certain amount of control over my body shape and the way that I look, but at the same time, I'm not super concerned about that, and that's not my highest priority for getting back into the gym or for going to a dance class or for doing activities like that. So it's just given me a bit of a shift in that perspective, and just appreciating my body just being what it is and existing, and whether I could do all the things and all the workouts and all the exercise that I wanted or not, I still had value. Another thing I learned on this journey was that I knew that it would be difficult physically to not be moving my body in the way that I really wanted and getting that exercise in, but I didn't fully recognize or realize how much it would have an effect on me mentally as well. I use exercise as such an outlet to focus on something else, to zone in on whatever I'm doing and focus on that, so that I don't have a lot of background noise typically while I'm really focused on what I'm doing. I find that it's a great outlet for stress reduction, for feeling really capable, for feeling strong and empowered and having a good time doing these things. And so I had to find another way to sort of address the stress and to manage my mental health in a different way than I was used to. So I found supportive communities, people who were going through similar experiences that I was health-wise, to try to connect and try to have an outlet with people who understood my circumstance and who were going through similar difficulties and similar challenges. I'll leave some resources below for anyone who actually is dealing with endometriosis and might need a support group or need some resources. I found that it was really helpful to write. I wrote a lot during that time period about what I was experiencing and what was going on, what my thoughts and feelings were, and just kind of getting it out on paper and out of my mind and out of my body, I found to be really helpful and really therapeutic as well. I've often said in the past to not compare your journey to someone else's, so not to compare your fitness journey, let's say, to someone else's who, I mean, you're probably different ages and heights and weights and builds, and there's just so many different factors that play into the way you look or play into your capabilities. And usually I recommend comparing you to you, compare your progress to your progress. And most of the time, I think that's brilliant advice. Pay attention to, if you have more stamina, if you can lift more weight, if you are able to do more reps, all these things, it can be really helpful to have you continue to make progress on your journey. But in this instance, this is one time that don't compare you to you. Don't compare your previous self to your current self. Your previous self was healthy and well and capable and able to do all these things. Current self is having a hard time. Current self needs to rest and recover and take pain medication and manage in whatever way makes sense. And so to compare you to you in that instance, you're comparing two different people in a way, because you're comparing yourself in two different states of being and in two different contexts. So I would actually advise not comparing yourself to yourself in that instance. And at that point, it's more so about taking it one day at a time, doing what you can in that day with the energy that you do have, and doing your best not to overdo it in one day so that the next day you're completely down for the count and not doing anything. I always have a really hard time finding that balance with things, so that was another lesson to learn and relearn and to remind myself of, to really take each day as it comes and to use the energy I have, but not to really exceed that energy expenditure so that the next day I could still function and still do what I needed to do. Another thing I had to remind myself of constantly was not to should all over myself. And that was something that I first heard in my yoga teacher training from the lovely Mona Warner, who was my yoga teacher trainer. And it is such great advice, and I've never forgotten it. It continues to be something that I need to work on, not telling yourself that you should be doing this, you should be this far along, you should have done that. Don't do it to yourself. Just quit it with the I should do this, I should have, I should. It's not helpful, it's not useful. Let it go. Focus on what you are able to do without putting that added layer of pressure on yourself. So now I'll get into how I went back into the gym environment and how I got going with that and what I learned throughout that process as well. So when first going back, I kept it really simple. I decided to start where I was most comfortable, and I also had the challenge of moving gyms because I had moved back across the country, so I was switching back to a gym that I had gone to previously, but I hadn't set foot in that gym in many years because I was living in Vancouver for a while and then moved back to Kingston, Ontario. So I was in a bit of a familiar setting, but a new setting at the same time as well. So I wanted to keep it really simple. I wanted to just make sure that I showed up. My goal was to just show up to the gym and do something, get my body moving in some way. And so my sort of comfort zone and happy place and starting point is always group fitness. And it's because that has been sort of the safest, I guess, place that I always started with getting into the gym environment, and taking classes has always been really comfortable for me as a former dance teacher and as a former group fitness instructor myself. There's always an instructor there to lead the way, to guide you through the whole process. You get in, you show up, you do the thing, you follow along, and then you get out, right? And there's community there too. So there's people to chat to a little bit or to connect with a little bit. And I find that can be a little bit harder to do if you're using free weights or you're using machines, because oftentimes people have their headphones in, people just want to get in and get out and do their workout. But if you show up a little bit early to a group fitness class, or you put your things away slowly afterwards, you can build a little bit of community and chat with people. So that was sort of my comfort zone and where I wanted to start and how I thought it would be the most simple. I didn't need a specific program or anything like that. I could just show up to the classes I wanted to show up to, lift the weights, do the thing, do the yoga, whatever it was, and then get out and enjoy the rest of my day. The next thing I learned really, really quickly was ease into going back. Oh my goodness. Ease your way into going back. I thought that I was easing my way back in. I was not. It was really, really bad. Guys, it was really, really bad. I decided I'd go to this class and I would take it really easy, do much lighter weights than I have done in a really, really long time, and just take it easy, just ease in. And I thought that I was easing in, and I wasn't. So I really overestimated my capacity and my ability after being away for so long. And even with trying to go lighter and trying to ease in, I made a big mistake. I didn't. So if you are the type of person like me who tends to do that and kind of get excited in the moment, or overestimate your ability and kind of overdo it, and you're kind of on that end of the spectrum, really, really ease off. Like, put the brakes on, showing up and being there and doing the thing, and getting started is the most important part. And if you do way too much too soon and you injure yourself or burn out immediately, then you're not getting back into that routine. So I was in a really bad way. I couldn't walk properly. I couldn't sit on the toilet or do stairs or anything properly. I was just kind of like hobbling around, and it was really awful. And I just way overdid it without even realizing it. So ease in for sure. So related to this is manage your expectations and adjust as needed. So once I did that first class, and then I had maybe 4 or 5 days where I couldn't go to another class because I was in so much pain and I couldn't walk properly and I couldn't move properly. So I really needed to manage my expectations, and without judgment, without being horrible to myself, even though I had put myself in a really sticky spot, being really kind to myself, saying, okay, I need to rejig this, I need to figure this out, I need to go way lighter, way easier, and spread out my workouts so that I'm not doing them, multiple days in a row. I need to really ease in and be really thoughtful about this and very intentional. And so that's what I did. I decided, okay, I'll start with 2 days a week and they'll be spread out, and I'll just commit to that, even though I want to do more and I want to jump in and do all the things. Just, okay, start with those 2 days, see how that goes, see how I feel, and then gradually build from there and do more from there. And that's what I've done, and that's been really helpful to me and has worked out well for me. Another thing I learned with thinking I was easing in and not really easing in and having that whole moment was I was so annoyed with myself and so frustrated, but I got over it pretty quickly because I have a sense of humor, and I laughed at myself so hard, and my partner was laughing at me. My son was like, "Are you okay? What's going on?" And we just laughed about it, and we laughed, moved on, and it was fine. And it was temporary. I knew it was temporary. It was not a fun few days, and I was initially really annoyed and frustrated with myself, but I was able to just say, okay, I made a mistake. I'm going to learn from it. Let's move on. Laugh and learn, right? And the last thing I learned through this whole process with being out of the gym for so long and then getting back to it was coming back to gratitude and being really thankful that my body came around and that I was able to have a surgery to help with my endometriosis, that I was able to recover from that surgery, get back to doing what I wanted to do, and be really grateful for my body for allowing that to happen. And even if I hadn't been able to get back to doing what I was doing, still being grateful for being alive and being able to do certain things that I could do, and just instead of doing, also considering just existing and being rather than doing. We're human beings, not human doings. So there's an aspect of we're all worthy regardless of what our bodies allow us to do or don't allow us to do, and that can shift and change in the blink of an eye. I could get hit by a bus tomorrow and, my whole life could change, and that could happen to anybody. So I think just recognizing that my value is in who I am as a human and existing on this planet and doing the best I can, regardless of what my body is able to do or not able to do, and being thankful that I have that awareness and I'm able to come around and be grateful for being here in this body, being here to share what I've learned, and hopefully you'll avoid a lot of the mistakes that I made along the way. If you've been out of the gym, if you've maybe had an injury or an illness, or you've just been away for a long time and you want to get back to it. So I hope you really enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, especially if you're watching through right till the end of the video. Remember to like the video if you liked it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Subscriptions are completely free, but they do help me out, help out the channel, and help get more eyes on my content. Remember that I hang out in the comment section after I post a video, so connect with me there. And even if it's beyond the hour after the video has been posted, leave me a comment, have a chat with me in the comment section. I do my best to respond to all the comments and really connect with you guys and continue to build this community that is so kind and such a lovely environment. So thank you for being here. Thanks again for watching and for being a part of the plantfitmeg community. You're awesome. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!